Hello, and welcome back to Step by Step, a podcast brought to you by Palmetto Conservatory of Dance. I'm your host, Antonia Diaz, and this is a different episode. We have a recap today with all our guests for our season one. And of course, I had to start with our first premiere opening, Brianna Taylor.
Hello, it's nice to be back.
I'll leave all the videos and attached somewhere so that you can click on them and check our first season. But I wanted to do something where I ask you all the questions, and I got to know you and every guest a lot more. But this time we're going to reverse the roles and I'm going to have the guests ask me one question. And that's why we're here today.
Very exciting. My one question for you, as a dancer, also as a teacher as well, I feel like it's very easy the amount of years that we have done this to get burnt out. So what are some things that you think that are a part of your routine that help you to not get burnt out, I guess?
Wow, that's a great question. I think I'm a very routinary person. So once I build a routine and it works, it's very hard for me to get out of it. But I sense when I'm starting to get to that burnout point when my routine is not pleasing me as much anymore. Mm-hmm. So what I do once I feel that I'm not either meeting my goals or I'm getting too close to like that point, I change it up. Usually that requires for me to like take a break one day where there's just no routine. And if I need more days like that, I will. And just switch it up. That has made it for me, since I am one to like have routines for pretty much everything that I do. Switch it up. With teaching, thankfully that hasn't happened. Teaching the little kids, not one day will be like the other. And I can't say that even though I come with a plan, it's a short plan because the plan is them. They haven't brought up. So yeah, that's mostly as a dancer where routines have to keep evolving as we go. But yeah.
Well, and I wanted to ask from the teacher's perspective too, but it is very true that, every day is different. And I feel like for me personally, I don't know if you feel this way, but for me personally, teaching them, sometimes if I have a bad day dancing, it kind of rejuvenates.
100%. Yes. And I've said that sometimes, just like in the studio, if there wasn't like such a good day, little kids always come with a smile. They love dancing. So you walk in and you're like, yeah, that's why we do it. That's what it's all
they're
about.
So pure too.
Yes. And we have a great group of students in every level. But yeah, those days when I have the little kids, I'm like, it's gonna end up being great. Even if we're tired, there's always a smile brought up. So it's awesome.
Well, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now we're back with our guest for episode 2. We're here with Simone Cuttino. And in our episode, we celebrated the 25 years of history and work with Columbia Classical Ballet, amongst many other milestones and performances. And now I have Simone to ask me the question.
All right, so I wanted to ask you, what moved you when it was that time, not just the needle in your life, out of the other things you could have chosen to do, that moved you enough, and what still moves you that you chose ballet and that you continue to choose ballet. So that's the number one thing. But maybe as the second part of it, how would you finish the sentence if you were to talk to a young dancer who is at that point of the decision making? So not a little teeny one, but that age where you should feel like this is what I want to do. How would you finish this sentence if you said, do not choose ballet unless you're willing to?
I think I'm going to start backwards.
Yes.
Do not choose ballet if you're not willing to suffer the pain. And I think that is a very personal answer for me, because it took a lot of pain for me. And I say that a lot to like my students, sadly. Or like not sadly, but that's why I mention most of the time. I wouldn't force anybody to do ballet because it takes a lot of pain to do it. So if you don't want to do it, you really don't have to. But it is a sacrifice. So that would be my sentence. But really what moved me to choose, like that needle changed very late into my life. I wasn't I wasn't thinking, and it wasn't really a concern for me to go professional in ballet. I had an academic life, and I was like, it's gonna be the brain for me, and that's okay. But I somebody saw in me, in I'll say it, Joffrey Ballet saw in me some potential to go into a pre-professional program, and then when I went, I took it every like one step at a time. I took the pre-professional, and I was like, well, if somebody sees anything in me for the next step, I'll take it. And then somebody did, and I was like, okay, let me take one more step because I was still young. So I was like, I'm still young to be a lawyer, for example. So if I go to school at 19, I'm still good. Not with ballet. I had to take the
Can't
steps as
wait
it
that
was
long.
given.
Exactly. You can't wait that long. That was my other thing. You can't wait till you're done with high school to decide,
Exactly.
oh, I think I like to dance. You know,
And it
that's
was
too late.
pretty much then for me. I was in 10th grade.
That's
And
very
I was
late
like,
already.
I'm late. We're gonna have to rush it. And so one step at a time. And really, Rodenko gave me my first professional job. And I was like, sure, let's take it, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So what am I gonna do? Dance.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think every year I just ask myself that same question from that sentence. Am I willing to suffer the pain? Yes.
Yeah.
And it goes, that was very painful. All that talk was very painful. And I've loved it all my life. I never considered it, just because I honestly, quite frankly, didn't think I had what it took body wise to do it. But somebody saw that I could. So that's why I choose it every time.
Yeah.
Because I still love it.
Well, and that's actually one of my answers for that blank, telling someone don't do it unless you're willing to. One of my answers is, if you're not willing to trust someone else over your own,
Wow, I
how
love
you
that
feel
one.
about
Yeah.
it. You know, because what you just said about, because someone else told you, because we don't know, we're not the best judge of ourselves,
That's right.
especially not in the arts,
Yeah.
in performing arts, definitely not in ballet.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I also always thought I was not good enough, always, you know, and, you know, sometimes it just takes one person in your life when you're a child to say something bad about something, you know, and you're like, oh, I'm done, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, good one.
And you used a very key word for me, and it's trust. I've also never been, even if I'm like dancing, I've never been willing to be directed or something by or taught by somebody I didn't trust.
Yeah, right.
So the moment I lost the trust, and I've had that happen, thankfully, counted times, but the moment I've lost the trust in the person that is in front of me, it's nothing with them, nothing personal, but I've lost the trust, so I'm not going to keep working with you. You're not going to see me again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I would say, don't do it if you're not willing to become the paint.
Yes.
Because you're not going to be the painter, you're not going to be the brush. And if something, and it's basically let go of your ego. Because giving yourself to this, you have to give yourself, your full body and everything that comes with it, to someone else, into someone else's trust, right? And if you're not willing to go there and completely let go, and think, well, maybe I can be a little bit of the brush, or maybe I can, you know, maybe, of course, there will be times when that can happen, of course, you know, when there's opportunity for young choreographers or something where you can create something on your own or something, but all the other time, you have to be only the paint, you know, and it's not your job to paint that picture.
Yep.
So, yep. That would be
thank
my
you
answers.
so much. Thank you so much. Then
You're
we'll move
welcome.
to our next guest.
Hi, so now we're moving on to our Zoom guest. We have our guest artist, Evan Ambrose, and we talked all things ballet, all things guesting, freelancing. And this one is very special for me because we both have very tight schedules, and Evan is right here at 8 in the morning with us. So thank you so much for being back, and I can't wait. I'm ready for your question.
Girl, thank you for having me. A pleasure as always, girl. What is something that you are looking forward to this next podcasting season as we wrap up season 1?
So I've been telling this to a lot of people since we're wrapping up. This first season, I wanted to keep it very classic, very traditional, and very just poised, kind of like the voice of the school. But for the second season, I want a little bit more fun, a little bit more relaxed vibe, so that our guests can also represent that evolution that we've had within the school of like, yes, keeping it traditional, but moving on to like the fun stuff, which is always what we need.
For sure, for sure. I'd love to incorporate some games and stuff next season.
Yes, we'll
Yeah,
certainly, and then that's something that I would like for guests to come back. Like this is your home, and we would love to have you back.
sweet.
Thank you so much, Evan. We miss you tons. We can't wait to see you back. And I'm so glad that we got a little bit of time together. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna move on to our next guest.
Awesome.
Now we have our guest for the fourth episode. Our fourth episode was about our students and their highlights in everything that goes on when you are a student in our school. We have Viviana Moras and we have Sydney Sterling. And I can't wait to hear your questions. I'm ready.
In your dancing career, what has helped you improve and become the dancer you are today?
Wow, that is a good one. There's a lot that goes in there, but a lot of cross training, and both for the body and for the mind. So I got really close to Pilates, and I discovered physical therapy for dancers after I got injured. And once I found out about those two areas, I was ready to incorporate them within my dancing. So I discovered that if I don't do some like stretching for my ankles before I dance, I won't have such a successful class. So what is 20 minutes before class? What is 20 minutes before I get to the studio? So I try to put a little bit here and there just so that I feel that I'm achieving the goals that I want to achieve without overdoing it. I think that has helped me the most in my career.
Okay. My question is, what is your favorite part about doing the podcast?
Oh, getting to know each guest. I feel like with each guest, even though I've known them from before, I've gotten to know a more informal side of them and really what goes into their brains. And I could really say, for example, with Miss Simone, I had worked with her before, but the understanding of what goes into her thought process for productions was something that helped me as a dancer too, to understand and be a little bit more in her brain when she was working. And it all actually helped me a lot this season as well, getting to know you guys more and what you go through, even though we talk about it sometimes in the studio, helped me also work how I teach. I like teaching so that you don't feel like overworked, but so that we still achieve what we need to achieve. So yeah, it gave me an eye-opening moment for each area of my life, for sure. And now we move to our last guest. We're back to Cristina Auffant, our dance mom. And I would like to hear once more a different opinion. We had dancers all this episode so far. Now it's time for our dance mom to ask me the question.
Thank you so much for having me here, Antonia. Well, I have like a two-part question. I want to know, when you were like a child in a regular dance academy, what led you to, like to have this aha moment of, I want to be a professional dancer? I don't know if that happened when you were young or when you were like older, like a teenager. So I just want to know what led you to think like, wow, I really want to pursue this. And also what led you to end up being a professional dancer in the United States.
Mhm.
Like how was that path in your life?
Well, both answers kind of blend together. I wasn't a child when I had my aha moment with professional dancing. I was 16, 15, 16. And before that, I actually just wanted to have a traditional career path. I
Yes.
swore that I was going to be a lawyer or an engineer or an economist. I loved ballet and I loved dance, but it wasn't something that I pursued professionally. And through that path of moving into my graduation years, I decided to go to a summer intensive. I had never gone to a summer intensive. And I told my mom what a good way to end up kind of my ballet journey, because once I'm in school, it's going to be a little bit less. I don't have to leave it, but it's going to be a little bit less training. What a good way to finish it by going to a summer intensive. And she thought that was a good idea. So Joffrey Ballet School went to Colombia, went to Bogota to audition people for their summer intensive. I auditioned for them. I got accepted into their summer intensive programs, but I also got accepted to their trainee program, which I had no idea what that meant.
Yes.
So when I showed my email to my director at the time, my school director at the time, she said, so you got accepted to all the summer programs, which is fantastic, but you also got accepted to their trainee program. And she said something along the lines of, but I don't know if that's something that you're interested because you don't want to pursue it professionally.
Wow.
And I was like, wait a minute. So if they accept you into that program, you have chances to like go pro? And she was like, yeah. And both my mom and her were like, well, but like you've already said, that's nothing that you want.
Wow.
And that kind of just switched the vision. I was like,
Yes.
well, maybe I do want it. I just never thought that it was something that I could achieve in the less toxic way, but it wasn't something that I thought with my body type and with my capabilities, I was actually like, it was feasible.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, it was from then on, it was just let me take one step at a time, and then let me just run and audition and do things. And of course, the reason why I say that both answers blend together was because I pursued Joffrey. I went to New York. I fell in love with New York.
Of course.
And then from there, I realized that I could go to Europe, but especially for the time where I started looking for a job, Europe was just a harder reach. I'm not very tall, so I would have to have just a little bit more of experience to go to Europe with my height. And slowly God has put the path very smooth to a point, because after going to Joffrey, I went to Oklahoma City, and then from Oklahoma City, I came here, and I've been here for years.
Wow.
So yeah, it was something that was brought to me more than I wanted to pursue it.
Well, that's amazing.
But then after I went with it, I rolled with it.
Well, that is an amazing story, Antonia.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy that we have you here. You're a jewel. So
thank you.
And it's incredible what the different paths that life takes you. And when you interview me, we were talking about journeys and like your journey, and it's incredible like to hear your journey, how beautiful it's been.
Thank you. And I'm glad, of course, that I had the support along with all of it. Yes. From not only my parents, which of course my parents have been a great amount of support, but my teachers as well. They've put me
in the right
path, and they've told me the right things to do to make it. So yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. I love your story.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this little time of me answering the questions. We'll certainly bring it back for the next season. And stay tuned, as we'll start very soon with our new season.